Hello and welcome back to an all-new episode of the Tool Time Podcast. I'm Nadine Battah and I'm the editor of Tech Shop.
And I'm Eric Garbe, ASE Certified Master Technician.
Welcome back to the studio, Eric.
It's great to be back here again.
I am very excited. Now, it is a remote conversation today, but I still think it's going to be very exciting and we've got a lot to learn. Joining us today, we've got Alberto Roldan and Alex Borghard of CTA Tools Manufacturing. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Let's do
Let's do it.
Gentlemen, thank you again so much for joining us today, and we're really looking forward to getting started. So, to begin, can you guys give us some history about CTA Tools?
Sure, and thank you for having us. CTA was founded in 1978. However, we should go back a couple more decades to really get a true sense of CTA's history. Let me start by saying we're a family-owned and operated company. I actually represent the third generation. My grandfather started a company called Dryco Inc. In 1950, and Dryco handled and handles the export sales of several U.S. manufacturers in the automotive world. And from 1950 and onwards, he built up a network throughout the world and decided in the 1970s, 1978 to be exact, to come up with their own brand of automotive tools after acquiring a lot of knowledge and experience selling the tools. We thought that we can contribute also and add some more unique products to what we're already exporting from other U.S. manufacturers. So CTA started in 1978. From there, it's grown from just a few dozen items to well over 2,000 items today. We've really evolved through the years and have found a very niche range of automotive specialty tools, a lot of unique, different, and very innovative type of products.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool. You're not too far away from a 50-year anniversary.
Absolutely.
So that's really awesome. That's really cool. We see, as you mentioned, that you offer a number of specialty tools, really unique tools for a wide array of makes and models, even a lot of exotics. What is it you do that allows you to keep current with all these different makes and models and really stay ahead of what the demand is in the auto industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. As anyone that works in the automotive industry knows, it's constantly changing. And whatever products that we might sell today, there's a very strong chance that in 10 years from now, 15 years from now, those products are not going to be in demand because those vehicles are no longer on the road. So that gives a new challenge for anyone that's working in this industry to really stay on top of things and really get a sense of and know what is in demand today and what might be in demand 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So in order to do that, we do it in multiple ways. First and foremost is just internal research and development. Albert could shed some light on that too. Essentially, we scour online, whether it's forums, YouTube videos, and really get a sense of what is being worked on, what are the problems that people are experiencing when they work on cars. We also keep track of recalls that are occurring and just overall market trends. As you're aware right now, we're seeing a pretty substantial shift to EVs and hybrids. So knowing what might be popular tomorrow is what we really try to focus on. Albert, I'm sure can shed more light on that.
Yeah, and just to touch on the fact that Alex mentioned YouTube videos, it's something as simple as that. Before a tool is created for such problems, there's always someone out there MacGyvering something together. Putting something together that just allows them to get the job done. And then from there, it becomes this great idea, and you could build on that tool, whether it's someone creating it through YouTube or just hearing about it from dealers at trade shows. and just gathering that information over time and seeing what products work best for our specialty tool line.
To touch further on the internal research and development that we do, we also work with a wide range of different local mechanics, and they are constantly testing our products, telling us about issues that they're seeing in the field, and we heavily rely on those mechanics as a resource, and we built very, very strong relationships with those mechanics. On top of the internal research and development that we do, we also rely on the people that are on the front lines of these products, which are in many cases mobile dealers. Mobile dealers are on the forefront. They are all day long, every day. They are seeing technicians. They are getting all different kinds of requests and have, honestly, I think, the best pulse on the demands for the aftermarket industry. So whether it's going to trade shows, we're there to sell tools at some shows, but honestly, most importantly, we're there to listen and gather information and build relationships with the mobile dealers and get to know what they're really seeing on the field. So when we do that, we're able to get a lot of information and then check that out with what we're also researching. And that helps us really narrow down the products that are in demand today and might be in demand tomorrow. Lastly, we also rely on inventors. We get a lot of requests. Some of them are really, really interesting, but may not be for us. Some are completely out of left field. But every now and then we get a really interesting, very unique item that solves a solution that people need. So those are the main avenues that we use in order to gain knowledge and introduce good products.
Oh yeah, that is awesome. So you're really keeping involved with all aspects of the automotive industry, and kind of like technicians, you really need to stay ahead of everything as technology moves forward.
Absolutely.
And now I know too, Nadine, the next tool idea I have, I know exactly what to do with it. It might be kind of a crazy one, but I definitely know what to do with it.
We have a page on our website where inventors can submit their ideas to us, and if they have NDAs or anything like that, those are all things that we're very familiar with. So we have a portal for those submissions.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool.
And just to touch on what Alex had mentioned in regards to a little research and finding out information from dealers, we've also done, or I've done at least, quite a bit of ride-alongs with mobile dealers, just kind of seeing their market, seeing what they're touching base on. Mainly, let's say a lot of dealers that may visit a lot of diesel shops versus a lot of European shops, and just seeing what is in demand for those specific markets as well kind of pushes our line and our products forward.
That's cool. Yeah, very cool. And that gives you kind of a closer contact with techs in the field as well. So you probably get kind of a different viewpoint from that.
Yeah. So, and then they seem to appreciate it when they say, that we finally put a face behind the name, and they can say, okay, here's this company that actually listens to the customer.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely. So shifting the focus a little bit to some of your specific tools, there's a suspension tool you have that, I've kind of had an eye on. It looks fantastic. It's called Strut Lifter. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. So the Strut Lifter is basically designed to service and install struts, drive shafts, and a bunch of control arm components. But the way this Strut Lifter works is it connects to the top of a hydraulic transmission jack, and the cup section of it will then grab the body of a strut, and you'd be able to compress it while the vehicle is up on the lift. And that allows the technician, to alleviate that stress off that lower control arm and the knuckle assembly, and then also be able to remove those control arm components and all that as well. And then for removing the strut, it now becomes much easier than, bring the coil down and be able to remove the entire strut. Another reason it is very helpful is because a lot of modern vehicles nowadays with the strut assemblies don't actually have a bolt to pass to the bottom of the body of the strut. they have what is called like a pinch weld design, where they kind of just slip in like a cup and then the metal itself squeezes it in place. So there's tools out there in the market that like use to kind of look like bits that twist like an oval shape and will spread that open. But those are essentially what I think is dangerous. If they slip and come loose, it just can close up. Imagine you have a finger there, you're working on something midway, you can even damage the product as well. Let's say the new strut that's going on the vehicle. This allows you to be able to take that tension off of that so that you can slide it down without having to use a tool to spread it open.
Yeah, that's awesome. It looks like an incredibly useful tool.
Absolutely.
And I mean, just makes the job a lot easier. And I look at it too. I don't know whether it's my age or if struts are getting heavier, but I look at that thing and I think, gosh, this is gonna. I don't have to lift as hard.
Something you might be able to work with.
I could really.
I like it.
Into that.
I was just going to say, I was looking around your website and I saw something really unique that caught my eye as well, and it's the stethoscope recording cable. Can you guys tell us how that works?
Yeah, so that is a stethoscope recording cable. So a lot of electronic wireless stethoscope systems that are used now in vehicles for mechanics to essentially record the sounds that they're hearing. You know, the typical, you go into the shop and you say, hey, my car's making this sound and this noise, but they really don't know where it's coming from. A lot of times a technician, you know, if they're very experienced, can pick up and say, hey, that's that. But there are cases where they may have to take the vehicle out on a test drive and or just run the engine right there in the bay and get a recording for it. For one purpose is to explain to the customer this is what's happening, and that the cable just allows them to get the recording from the stethoscope wireless device, the transmitter, and then use that cable to transfer it over to your iPhone or Android device, so that then they can show it to their customer or keep it on record or be able to play it back for themselves as a reminder of whatever sound they're hearing, whether it's a ball joint or an engine ticking sound. There's a knocking sound in the engine bay. Any odd recording of that sort, this will at least pick that up and you can save it on your phone. And who doesn't have a smartphone nowadays? So,
For sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. You know, and I think, you know, great way just to learn from it. You know, you can play it for other technicians.
Absolutely.
You know, and awesome for sharing with customers, as you said, Alberto, and having that transparency with customers is a huge thing these days. So that's a really a cool product.
Absolutely, it's a nifty little small tool as well. So I actually have one right here in front of me. It comes in a cool little carrying case, so it just makes it much easier for anyone to just pick this up. You can connect it directly to your phone, and then this goes directly into the device with a few extra adapters for different devices out there. So it's pretty much a universal design, and it's got a nifty little carrying case.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Keep it safe in your toolbox and safe and clean for the next use.
Make sure you don't lose it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, one area, you know, as a technician, I'm sure, you know, all of us, we are familiar with thread repair because it just happens all the time. It's always something that you're going to be involved in. And something you have that looks very useful is the Easy Chamfer. Can you tell us a little bit about that tool?
Sure. So the Easy Chamfer, we offer them in two sizes. The part number 3838 is your standard size, and then you have a larger size that could work on a lot of heavy-duty vehicles. That one is part number 3840. Basically, these tools are just designed to simply chamfer the end of a strut. In the automotive world, you're primarily using it for a lot of the stud assemblies for the wheels on the wheel hubs, cleaning them off. You know, anyone that lives in the Rust Belt knows that they easily rust, and sometimes reinstalling a lug nut, you can cross-thread it. So by just cleaning off those first two threads, it kind of gives it a nice little conial shape, and you can slide it on there with a chamfer. So the tools are very durable, and what makes ours unique to others on the market are the fact that we have 5 cutting blades, and those 5 cutting blades can now allow you to operate the tool at a lower RPM. You get the same result as a 3 cutting blade tool, but with the 5, it's just allowing you to run it at a lower RPM to increase its durability.
Yeah, very nice, and you know, handy anywhere, but we definitely live in the Rust Belt, so yeah, I can see we're using one of those quite often.
I really appreciate getting into the nitty-gritty of the products, and you know, something that I hear often is that technicians love sockets and they cannot get enough of them. So you guys have an extra deep socket set that looks like it could be really useful. Can you guys tell us a little bit more about that set?
Yeah. So our part number 1189 socket set, but it's all the sockets are available individually, but that's been our flagship socket set for quite a while now. It's an extra deep metric socket set. They're about 120 millimeters deep. And what makes ours unique to others on the market is the hex broach, or the hex portion of the socket inside, is about halfway deep down the socket, which allows you to be able to pass through, let's say, a threaded rod where there's a nut and get it all the way through the entire socket. Whereas others on the market will bevel over and you won't be able to reach the socket all the way down.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because the 1189 is one of the perfect examples of the point I made earlier about listening to mobile dealers. The 1189, it started years ago as a two-piece set that were sizes, I believe, 8 millimeters and 10 millimeters. Albert could correct me if I'm wrong. And that was introduced 10 and 12. There we go. So the 10 and 12 millimeters were introduced, I'd say 7 or 8 years ago. And those were for the rear bumper cover bolts on Mercedes-Benz. And we were showing them at trade shows for mobile dealers and getting a lot of positive feedback on it. But they were saying, hey, 8 and 12, 10 and 12 are great, but we're size 8, we're size 9. We need those sizes too for whichever application. So we went back to the drawing board, did some more research, and decided to come out with a set that was, it ended up being a 5-piece set. And it had some more additional sizes. And we were selling a lot of them, tons. But we brought it to the shows next year, and all the dealers said, hey, this is awesome. Where are sizes, 14, 17, 18? And so we go back to the drawing board again, and we come out with a 11-piece expanded set, our 1099. And soon that became the most popular set. And we were showing it at shows, and we were getting more feedback. And keep in mind, these are sizes that were not brought up previous years, but all of a sudden, we thought we'd come out with this complete perfect set. And then we learned, hey, you need to go down to 6 millimeters, and you need to go up to 18 millimeters because diesel does this and Toyota does that. So we go back to the drawing board again, and we come out with what we now have as the 1189 and
21.
Yeah, so 21. So we come back with that, which we introduced about 4 years ago. And this is the first time since we started doing the deep metric sockets where we've shown it at every show. And nobody has said you're missing a size. So it took a few evolutions, but through listening through to the dealers, that we were able to understand the demand on the sizes needed for this set, and we reacted and created larger sets to really meet that demand. So I just wanted to bring that up as a good example of how we listen to mobile dealers for feedback.
Absolutely. That is a great example. I love it.
Yeah, that's great
Very
stuff.
nice.
And you're definitely right, Nadine. We love sockets.
Yes,
As
we do.
technicians, we definitely love
I hear it a
sockets.
lot.
It sounds like a great set. Absolutely. So, something that's becoming more and more important for technicians is having the ability to pressure bleed brake systems. They're getting to the point where we just have to have a good pressure bleeder to get the job done. And I see that you have a professional series brake bleeder kit. Is that correct?
That's right. So we currently have one right now where it's an all-metal construction brake bleeding adapters. Part number 1275 is the kit, includes the tank as well as the adapters. Those they were heavily requested. Same thing with mobile dealers saying, hey, look, we know there's the old school adapters and everyone does it this way. But what new techniques could we use to make them more durable? And that's when the Pro Series idea came about. I said, let's just make them all metal construction. They will cost more, but people will pay for quality, and that's what our adapters provide, quality. And then some of them, which would normally, take a perfect example, are Honda application adapters. From our old design, we had 3 different adapters, whereas now we have one adapter that essentially can do all 3 applications because it has a collar system designed to it that can open and close based on the application you're working on. So that's one little great benefit of it. Also, the fact that a lot of them have offset quick connects, and you can use them in tighter spaces, especially on a lot of European cars like Volkswagen and Audi. I personally know with a lot of the Volkswagens that they tend to bury the housing caps, the reservoirs a little underneath some intake components or something. So just instead of having to remove an entire intake piping work, you can just work around it and put it on top and work from a side angle. So little things like that we improved from our old design. And we may have some things in the works, possibly, if it's in discussion about possibly doing electric brake bleeding stuff. But we'll work that in if everything works out all right.
Awesome. Well, we'll certainly keep an eye out for something like that maybe down the road. And I know what you mean about tight spaces. They just keep getting tighter and tighter. So that sounds like some very, very useful stuff there.
Yep.
Great stuff.
Absolutely. Now, to shift a little bit to timing tools, it looks like you guys really almost offer something for everything. But is there a kit that you would say has been more popular lately?
So we are popular with a lot of our timing kits, but one always stands out, and that's our Ford 5063 timing toolkit. It's, I believe, our best-selling kit, but that has been one of those kits that's been directly compared to, 4-digit item price tag kits that are from other companies out there, and we're being able to do the same thing for a third of the cost, supplying a lot of technicians with all the different adapters, tools, holders, timing chain, phasers, for a lot of Ford applications, from all the way down from the 1.5 liter engines all the way up to the 3.0 liter EcoBoost style Duratec engines. And this kit provides a lot of those. But on top of that, we sell a lot of other kits that are specifically used for a lot of the European applications. So a lot of Volkswagen, Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and then branching out even to some diesel kits as well. I don't know if, Alex, you want to add anything on that?
Well, I mean, it's as Albert mentioned, the 2221 and the 5063. So we have 2 different versions of the set. The 2221 is our bestseller, and it covers, like Albert said, it covers Ford, and you'll see there are many Ford EcoBoosts that are on the road. We make all of our timing tools, all the components we make available open stock. In cases that either a customer only needs specific components from the kit. In some cases, someone might lose a component, or they'll lend it out to somebody and not get it back. So we try to do a complete job of making sure all the components have individual unique part numbers, that those part numbers are published on our website, and that they're able to be ordered. And if there's ever a case where a customer does not see a part number that's associated with a component, we are able to quickly set that up and get that live to sell. And also going into some of the, Albert mentioned Euro and domestic, and he did not mention Asian. And if you look at our catalog, we have very few timing tools for Asian makes and models, and that is not because of we're not looking to sell into that for those cars, but it's because those cars have been so simply designed, where the timing tools required for that kind of service don't really exist. Whereas if you look at a BMW timing tool set, you'll see how sophisticated these sets are, because there is such a high degree of precision, and so many moving pieces in, let's say, a BMW compared to a Honda or a Toyota. So even looking at some of the products that we offered, taking the timing tool category, for example, it also gives you a sense of the cars and how long they last, what kind of issues they encounter. And so for me, it's a very interesting way to analyze, what kind of services cars are requiring these days.
Absolutely. And just to kind of add on that, more simplistic matter is there's always been a saying that I've used is, a Honda and a Toyota will drive in spite of you. And they will just keep working. And whereas like a European car or an Italian car, let's say, they're thoroughbreds. They need constant attention and love. And they're great if you're constantly throwing money at them and working on them and, preventative maintenance. But if you just need a point A to point B vehicle, Honda, Toyota, and a Japanese, Asian vehicle, that's the one to go with.
Well, you do know your Volkswagens, Roberto. I don't know if we can say that live or not, but I can tell you know the German cars.
I love Volkswagen, but I'm the preventative, service guy. That's me. If the book says change oil every 10,000 miles, I'm doing it every 6,000 miles or every 5,000. That's just how I am. I remember the first time I bought a brand new car, and the book said come in at 5,000 miles, and I brought it in at 2,500, and they said, "Oh, you're early." I said, "No, I know. Please change the oil. I get the first one for free. After that, I'm never bothering you guys again. I'm doing it myself."
Right? Yeah, for sure. But that is really interesting information about the timing tools. That's great stuff. And I love the open stock policy because that can save technicians a lot of money, a lot of headache, a lot of time.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's really a great policy.
Another great aspect to that is the mobile dealer, how we said that's a big market. If they have a kit, let's say, on their vehicle, which covers a wide range of applications, but 3 of the components within their timing related are for that specific application, and they just want to service that one thing, it's at the discretion of the dealer to just sell them the individual components, since each thing does have a part number. And then they could fill that as they like, if they want to rebuild their kit and then sell it to someone else who may want the full master kit.
Oh, yeah, very good point. Very good point for sure. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned as well, the timing tools, they are, when you need them, you need them. You absolutely have to have them. Sure. So it's great to know that you offer such a great coverage for those timing tools. I think, Alex, you mentioned this a little bit about the website earlier, something and how you use it, as well as your contact with technicians to stay current with all your new tools and stay current with the industry. But something that really jumps out on the website is the knowledge base. And, can you tell us a little bit about that and, what this does for technicians and how it helps you keep current and what it offers to technicians?
Yeah, well, Albert would actually be the best person to talk about that because Albert's the one that really produces all the content. So just briefly, I could explain that we try to not only offer products and customer service for our products, but we also want to keep our customers and just the market in general engaged and aware of either different trends being experienced in the automotive aftermarket industry, as well as obviously products, new products that we come out with, new applications that products might service, recalls that occur. But in terms of the nitty gritty part of it, that's all left to Albert, and he does a great job managing and coming up with really unique and interesting takes either on our products or to bring awareness of issues that are occurring in the industry.
Yeah, so just to touch on that, yes, I do run a lot of that. I basically manage that part of our website. And like Alex mentioned, to just elaborate a little further is, I will go into detail and if there's a new application that comes up for something, I will do my research and see how could this help the the dealer or the end user. Also, sometimes just giving a little knowledge base. Sometimes I like to include a nice little story about, let's say, the background of a Ford Power Stroke engine. The unloved 6.0 liter turbo diesel versus the newer 6.7 liter that's loved, and just kind of give little tidbits on those vehicles, and then also the service side of it. When is it recommended to do something? I could break it down further, but the main point being that we're just trying to supply our customers with a little bit more data. I look at it as if we have a web page on a product and we have our bullet points explaining it. This just takes it that one step further and brings it more to, for lack of a better word, like a podcast, a little bit more conversational, and tell a story about, hey, why would you use this product? And then there you go. It just, for some people, that might make more sense, looking up a product, and then just being able to engage a little bit more with the customers.
That's awesome.
I love
Very
it.
cool.
I hate to sound like a McDonald's commercial with this, my continued I love it, but I really am enjoying all the information that you guys are giving us today. So we really do appreciate it. And, just to wrap it up, this will be our last question. Besides the Tool Connect, Tech Shop's Tool Connect newsletter, what's the best way for technicians to learn about your guys' new tools?
So we have a great newsletter. We send that out about once a week, and it highlights our newest products. And then also, same as our knowledge-based system, is we'll put out some information if we learn something new, whether it's application-wise or even updated applications. We may have a product that we put out, let's say in 2020, but the applications continue to go forward till 2024. So we would then, alert the public, the customers, of these changes, and then how much the product has evolved throughout the years as well, or if there's been updates with products. So the way you guys can essentially get on that newsletter is you visit ctatools.com, you get a prompt that pops up, and you can just sign up with your email there. Or if you just want to reach out to info@ctatools.com and just request, hey, I'd like to be part of the newsletter, we could always just sign anyone up for that.
Perfect.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. We got the knowledge base, the newsletter, all kinds of great stuff on this website. So
Definitely.
Fantastic resource for technicians.
One more note on the website. We have a hidden feature that we don't advertise on the website itself, but many mobile dealers, anyone that has our newsletter knows about this feature. And that is our search function, which obviously if you type in a CTA part number, or if you want to type in brake bleeder adapter or Ford timing toolkit, it'll spit back the results, relative results for your search. However, we've also added a second layer, and this request came from many mobile dealers that are in the field trying to sell product. And a lot of times they'll get a customer that says, hey, I'm looking for this Ford factory tool, and in many cases it's out of stock, or some car manufacturers, the tools that they're selling, the factory tools that are being sold, can be at a very, very inflated price, to say the least. So what we did is we built a layer into our searching, where if you put a Ford factory tool number, or really any other manufacturer that's making it, it doesn't have to be a factory tool. If you put that part number in our search bar, we have it interchanged with our products. So you'll be able to interchange and get a CTA product if you're looking for whatever Ford timing tool, or really any tool. If you have a different part number, you could put that in there and see if there's a CTA equivalent. And we do a really good job maintaining this. There's some cases where we may not have the knowledge that we have an interchange, so it's not on the website yet. But in those cases, just reach out to us. If you don't see it, there's a good chance that we have the tool. And if we don't have it, that's another way we get knowledge about new tools or tools on demand. So we use that information too. But it's a secret function. But feel free to use it and abuse it.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you both for joining us today. This was all very, very helpful and super, super great to hear about.
Absolutely. Yeah, great stuff. Learned a lot about some great tools.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having us. And thank you all
Yes,
for
thank you very much.
the viewers, listeners out there. Thank you very much for listening.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And if you have any questions, reach out to CTA. We're your neighborhood tool guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, that was really excellent. What do you think, Eric?
Oh, yeah, that was awesome. You can tell that they are really in tune with the automotive industry.
Absolutely. I love that you mentioned that because that's what really stood out to me most. They mentioned those frontline workers that are out there working with these products single-handedly every single day, like those mobile dealers, those technicians. And I think the fact that there's a lot of thought process going behind these products is super important, especially today.
Absolutely. They are focused and they are getting the job done.
For sure. Thanks again for joining me, Eric. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time.